Before I do that, I want to thank you everybody for joining. And so the purpose of today's webinar is to educate, inform, inspire, and engage with the goal of empowering African digital future through unlocking global career with Aviva technology. In the next few minutes, we're going to be having a panel educating us and sharing knowledge on the state of the art technology, how they are being deployed to enhance human performance for improved productivity and profitability. Today, Aviva's ecosystem and solution is widely implemented globally in digitalizing assets such as refineries, manufacturing plants, oil and gas facilities, power plants, energy system manufacturers, smart factories, etc. Through digitalization, digital transformation, and data gathering insights, infographic and visualization translate into better decision making. Today, millions of dollars is being saved globally. Through implementing digital twin for predictive and prescriptive operations and maintenance. Furthermore, some exciting career includes system integrators, IoT, OT specialists, industrial software engineers, data analysts and AI specialists, digital transformation consultants, operations and ecosystem engineers, skill required technical and soft skills. It is important to know that Aviva makes the presented solutions available for classroom teaching and research, so we would be pleased to engage with the right people in learning institutions such as university, polytechnics, monotechnics, and technical colleges. Like we have on our screen, please kindly scan through the QR code so that you can join the community and we can build this forward. I believe this is a very critical vision where we need to develop local talent through this technology. So before we kickstart fully, I want us to observe some housekeeping rules. Please keep your microphone muted. Unless you're invited to speak, you can use the chat box at any time to share questions and also feedback. So kindly note that there will be polls. The link will be shared during the course of this webinar. When it is up, please, I'm going to mention that. Please ensure to participate. Questions are welcome. Click the Q&A icon and type in your question. So we're going to have about 30 minutes question and answer section. So please, you just have to click on the icon that will be shared. I think it's there already, and you're going to ask your question. Kindly state your name and who you are addressing the question. Be clear and concise. So more or less, I will be reading out the questions and Anna is going to answer them. So when you post them on the chat box, I will read them. Comments are also welcome. Feel free to drop comments in the section and it will be read by the moderator, that's myself. Kindly note that you will get the recording and slide. Like it was mentioned yesterday, we're going to post this on the community that we're developing at this moment. That is why you need to scan the QR code. We're also going to share the sections on our YouTube page. So it is important that our YouTube channel, it is important that you join the community so that when the link is being shared, you can naturally click on it and get to that channel. Thank you. There is okay. We're going to continue by. Let me move to talking about our moderators and our speakers. The vision or the visionaire behind this is Aviva and Lunadex. These are the two organizations that are collaborating to make this possible. It is something that has been in the mind of Dr. Bilola to make sure that we strongly develop local talent for global opportunities. And she has been very passionate about it. So I'm just going to read a little brief of her profile. Then I'll move over to the profile of the facilitator for today from Aviva that we're going to start. So Dr. Ibilola Amao is a distinguished Nigerian-British engineer, an entrepreneur, and a STEM advocate, serving as principal consultant of Lonadec, a multi-award winning woman-owned engineering technology and information management firm operating across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and UK. She holds a first-class honor degree in civil and structural engineering from Queen's Mary University of London and a PhD in computer-aided design and drafting from the University of Brentford. Dr. Amao has also completed executive management at top universities, including Manchester Business School and others. With over 3 decades of experience, Dr. Amao leads Lonadec in delivering engineering technology solutions, digital transformation initiative, and human capital development programs across energy, power, infrastructure, manufacturing, and oil and gas sector. Under her leadership, Lonadec has trained thousands of engineers and empowered over 100,000 STEM talents while fostering digital and professional skills development. She is a respected fellow of the Institute of Directors, Energy Institute UK, Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the Nigerian Academy of Engineering, and serving on international boards and expert panel, including the Energy Institute and the Royal Academy of Engineering UK Prize Judges Panel. Dr. Amao is a co-founder of the Women in Energy Network WEN and actively champions diversity, youth empowerment, and women's participation in STEM. Her contributions have earned her numerous recognition, including the Forbes African Rising Star Award, C3E International Women of Distinction Award, We Connect Arise to the Challenge Award, and Fellowship with Vital Voices. Next is facilitator for today. And after I'm done reading, we need to give, like we used to say in Nigeria, a sound applause to welcome her. So we have Panagiota. She said I should call her Pana. So, Panagiota.
Thank you pronounced.
Is a senior technical support engineer at Aviva with 10 years of experience supporting plant SCADA and related industrial software. He works closely with students and educators to diagnose complex issues, improve system reliability, and streamline deployment. Before joining Aviva, Panagiota worked with solar PV systems installation and an industrial automation project as a DCS engineer at Yokogawa. He holds an electrical engineering degree with an energy specialization from the Polytechnic Faculty of Aristotle, University of Thessaloniki. Hope I'm correct. Panagiota is originally Greek, but has been living in the Netherlands for the last 15 years. Please, can we put our hands together, like we used to say in Nigeria, as we welcome the facilitator for today. Thank you very much. Please take the room, Panagioka or Pana. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ugo, for the warm welcome. Thank you for organizing this session for Lonadec. Today I will present you some information about Plant SCADA. Just give me a moment to present my screen and I will start right away. Please tell me if you can see my screen properly. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining this session. Today I will talk to you a little bit about Plant SCADA. My name is Ugo already presented, is Panagiota Daya. I'm a senior technical support engineer. I'm supporting the EMEA region along with an excellent team of engineers that are working with me. Just a small agenda information about today. we will go through the general information, talk about the configuration components of PlanSCADA, discuss about how it looks when we run the project, interfaces with external third-party components, of course, information about the license if you would like to run it, how you can remotely access it. I have prepared also a little demo so we can see how it looks in real time. Summarizing, and then have a look in the operations control to see how PlanSCADA interconnects with the rest of the Aviva portfolio products, and just wrapping up. So going through the general information about PlanSCADA, as the name clearly says, it's a SCADA, so a supervisory control and data acquisition system. And basically, it is the bridge between the operation technology signals and human decisions. SCADA actually supervises industrial processes, collects information from the field and transforms them into value via alarms, trends, events, and graphical information for the operators in order to run a plant, limit downtime, etc. Also provides information to higher level applications in the automation pyramid, as we can see here. So PlanSCADA sits on the supervisory level, gets information from the control and field level, and provides data for ERP and MES levels. So regarding what kind of applications can be managed with PlanSCADA in comparison to the rest of the Aviva portfolio, PlanSCADA is so flexible that it can be used even for representation of a single line machinery up to multi-site projects. Before, PlanSCADA used to be called Sitect. The logo was the can-do software, meaning that in the hands of a very skillful engineer, it can do practically everything. It has been over 35 years in the market, providing information like multi-language support, virtualization support, scheduler, multiple levels of redundancy, inbuilt templates in order to build your own project, etc. So it has started as a Sitect developed originally in Australia for mining operations, and it has gone through various names and colors, Video Sitect, SCADA Expert, and then Schneider Electric took it, became Sitect SCADA, and after they merged with Aviva, the brand name from now on is called PlanSCADA. In the last 3 versions, we have brought quite a lot of functionality, like a native VPC UA server, IPv6 support, and these funny animals that you see here is the internal version names. Because our R&D is located in Australia, they use Australian native animals. But the only version currently in support is the last version, which is the 2023 R2 version 850. So let's have a look where PlanSCADA is used. As we said, it's the can-do software, so you can practically see it almost everywhere, from water and wastewater applications, mining minerals and metals, because as I said, it was developed for this particular reason. PlanSCADA comes in various flavors as well. You might see it as a EcoStruxure Process Expert branded for Schneider Electric. PlanSCADA sits underneath. In solar applications, also for power distributions, you might see it under the name EcoStruxure Power Operations. This is also PlanSCADA. Boiler systems, jail detention centers, even fish migration used in universities. Tunnels. This is a very special double-decker Dutch tunnel, and many more. In order to kickstart your knowledge in PlanSCADA, we have to go through the configuration components first. In general, a SCADA system usually comprises of an engineering machine that can also contain deployment. You have, of course, the field and the control levels that they are basically providing the input for the SCADA system. Then the SCADA server where the calculation, the generation of alarms, storing of historical values, etc., is happening in the SCADA server. And of course, then you can have multiple operator workstations, maybe presenting your user interface via mobile, and also providing input to historian analytics and higher level applications like MES and ERP, as we said before. So using this graphical, this picture, we will navigate through the various components of PlanSCADA. So going first to the engineering and deployment, the main configuration environment for PlanSCADA is called PlanSCADA Studio. Is basically the IDE where you can create the logical representation of your plans and define various activities like your alarms, how your architecture in your network stands, etc. So basically, you will use PlanSCADA Studio for everything. First, you need to define your project. The projects can be created without any configuration, but also there are a lot of templates called starter projects, and then you can create a new project that has already an inbuilt functionality. You can create backups to transfer to various machines. The backups are zip style files with the extension CTZ, and it looks something like this. Apart from manually distributing the backup files from machine to machine, we also offer a more native functionality to centrally manage and distribute the project versions. This is called the deployment. You basically have a deployment server that is a file server that stores all the versions of your project, and then you have the deployment clients that get the information, its version from the deployment server. This really alleviates the need of having to go manually to each machine to restore the CTZ file and all these kind of human errors that might occur by restoring wrong versions. Okay, so once you have created your project, you need to start putting some configuration. And first, we have to start by defining which are the entry points and calculation points, let's say, for your plan. So you will have to define the I/O server that is going to collect all the signals from the field and the values, alarm servers that are going to run the activation of alarms, as well as a sequence of events management, trend servers where you can store historical values of your variable tags, report servers to create like HTML or file reports for the operators or for higher management, and an OPCDA server that you can make available the values of the variable tags via OPCDA clients. PlanSCADA is very flexible. It can be from just a standalone server to a more distributed environment where you have your alarm trends report server to different machines, but also there is the possibility to use clustering, so you can use multi-site integration and then to have like a global client in a central control room where you can be able to manage such big implementations. In order to get information from the field to the IO server, of course, because there is like a very wide range of protocols and machines in the field, Planscadia has a native connectivity library with more than 150 drivers. However, not all of them are anymore actively developed, but for most of the modern PLCs and protocols, there is a driver that you can use. Furthermore, there is the OFS OPC driver that allows the native integration for Schneider Electric PLCs and Unity, the control expert. So after we have defined our server processes that are going to be running all this application, then we have to define our system model. What the system model is basically the variable tags that will be representing the field values, the alarming functionality, how the alarm points, digital alarms, analog alarms. We have time-stamped digital, time-stamped analog. Trending, that is how you store the values in files. And of course, you can use equipment, which is an object-oriented architecture in order to reference processes in local grouping. So this is necessary more in bigger applications, and if you want to be able to implement your project more easily. I will show you later on how this looks like. So then once you have already the basis of your projects, tags, alarms, server processes, of course, in order to show this information to an operator, you need to build the user interface, which is basically graphics. First, we have in Studio the visualization activity, where you can build a menu that a user can navigate easily. You can have the list of the pages that you can represent to the operator on runtime. And of course, in the visualization activity, you can define also the reports as mentioned before. In order to build your graphics, there is an external component that is being launched together with the Cytek Studio, the Planscadia Studio. This is called the Graphics Builder. There you can build your graphics. You can create templates that can be reused in order to create a uniform style throughout the graphical pages of a plant, for example. Genies that are items that can be reused on the graphics by referencing different variable tags. So it makes development much more easier. Furthermore, what is necessary to be configured is the security. Planscadia offers 3 levels of security: the runtime security, configuration security, and encryption. Runtime security refers mainly to the security that is implemented for the runtime environment. So who has the rights to log into the runtime, who has the rights to change set points, open pages, acknowledge alarms, etc. You have 2 flavors of security in here, integrated very well with each other. One is the native user-based security. So users that you generate inside the Planscadia Studio, and they are stored in the project database. But also you can integrate it with Windows groups or Active Directory groups just by linking the name of the group in the Planscadia roles. Then you have the configuration security. I call it like this. Basically, this is directly linked to some local user groups that they define which user is allowed to interact with which part of the application. So if you would like to limit the access to Planskada Studio, then you can allow users only by putting them in the configuration users group. Or if you would like to avoid people creating versions of the projects and deploying them, you can limit it by setting up the deployment groups. Finally, in the last few versions, we have introduced the encryption, which is basically encrypted inter-process communication, both among the Planskada processes, but also connecting with other Aviva products. This requires the configuration of another component that is called the system management server. That is basically the certification authority of Aviva, and generates certificates and distributes them to the other, to each node, to each machine in the whole architecture, in order to be able to properly encrypt the communication between them. After you have configured the system management server, or you have connected your machine to the existing system management server in your architecture, you just need to enable encryption, and then in Planskada, all the processes are going to be encrypted using TLS 1.2. One last component is the standards and setup configuration activities. Here you define information that helps you customize basically your project, which are the fonts that you want to use, labels that you can use instead of using specific values, alarm categories that then you define how they will look like and what actions will happen when you are accessing these alarms. And something very important, the events in the setup activity that you can define on-demand execution of some actions, either periodically or based on a specific trigger. Last but not least, in the Planskada configuration environment is the Scicode. Scicode is the Planskada, the programming language of Planskada. Is a structured, it is a very easy structured language that is a bit like C-like. We have the Scicode editor where you can develop your Scicode, and you can also debug it in order to make sure that you are delivering a project fault-free, or find where your project is failing. Then once you have developed your Scicode functions, then you can call them from your clients or your servers, and you can use them in your project. Once you have done all the configuration and you have your project, all the configuration files are complete, you need to basically transfer your project so the operators will be able to access it, and the servers will be able to collect and make use of the information. So basically, this is why we have the Planskada runtime, it is called. You need to first compile and your project to make sure that it's fault-free, and run the computer setup wizard, which is a component that defines which part of the project is going to which process. And then you can run your project and you get presented with a runtime manager tool, which is a tool where you can see which processes are running. You can start or stop your processes from there, and access also some diagnostics. how it looks like. This is one of the flavors of PlanSCADA. This is just from the example project that we deliver with PlanSCADA Studio. And this is the last type of templates we are using that is called the situational awareness. It uses the simple shades of gray way of representing, of graphical representation with colors only to signal problems for easy alarm recognition. And you have various panes where you can see process values, alarming, and navigate to your project. PlanSCADA can be run as a simple Windows application, but there is the possibility also to run it as a service under the service that is called Cytec Runtime Manager. This is very useful for servers, for example, that they don't require operator interaction for an unintended installation. You don't even need to log in a user. Once the server is running without even a user logged in, it runs on session 0 without stopping. In order to verify if everything works well, we have a set of diagnostics. One of these is a very useful tool for real-time diagnostics that is called the kernel. There is a kernel window for every process that is running for PlanSCADA, and it can be accessed by the PlanSCADA Runtime Manager, as I'm showing here. Apart from that, we have the set of logs where you can find in specific directories, but also an external tool that is called the Operations Control Management Console that contains logging mainly for external components interacting for PlanSCADA, like the licensing, OpsUA server, etc. So PlanSCADA has its own native OpsCDA server, as we said, in order to provide information to OpsCDA clients. The configuration is very easy. You just add one OpsCDA server in your topology, and then once you run your project, it's running as a separate process. However, it's a bit of an outdated nowadays technology and it's DCOM dependent. That's why in the last versions we have provided the native OpsUA server functionality to offer modern, cross-platform and secure solution to provide real-time data from PlanSCADA to external OpsUA clients, and to avoid also, of course, the DCOM configuration. The OpsUA server is also very easy to configure. Basically, you need to have encryption enabled. Then you just need to provide to the OpsUA clients the endpoint URL. And also it runs under the connectivity service. Finally, we have the application program interface for PlanSCADA that is called the City API, and allows third-party developers to have their own applications that you can build in C, C#, for example, and then interact with PlanSCADA via a set of functions that we have and can be used, and also a set of DLLs that they have to transfer in their City API application. Licensing, because this is not really a free product. You can run it without a license for trying out the product, demonstration reasons or testing. However, it is limited to 10 hours if you are using just memory devices, so you don't connect to a real PLC, and just 15 minutes with a maximum of 500 points. However, you can run only standalone application. As soon as you enable networking to connect to other servers, for example, this is not a possibility to have it. We have two types of perpetual licenses, the physical USBs that are backwards compatible with all versions, and also software keys. Nowadays, we are using just the Aviva Enterprise licensing server. All the licenses for all the software licensing for PlanSCADA include licenses for Historian and Aviva reports for operations, so you can try out these products as well. The hardware keys, they can be either plugged in on the main PlanSCADA server and distribute the licenses to other machines via the floating licensing mechanism, or you can have one individual hardware key plugged in on each machine. The software licenses, they have a different way of working. Basically, you can also have a various range of architectures. You can have a license, a standalone machine with all the components, license manager, server, and the product that you want to license, but also a more distributed architecture where the license server can also be redundant and sitting outside of the machines that they contain the product nodes. This is a technology that is used not only for PlanSCADA, but for all the Aviva portfolio. So you can have a license server, licensing InTouch, licensing Edge, Historian, and then PlanSCADA will go and get its license from there. We also have an option for Aviva Flex that is for license as a service that provides more bundles, but maybe it's not really as important for the moment. Finally, we have a way to access remotely your plant. There is a separate product that is called PlanSCADA Access Anywhere. It can be downloaded for free from our website and be used for free as long as you have the necessary client licenses for PlanSCADA. It is basically an extra software component. You are launching an HTML5 browser from your remote location, from your mobile phone. You are accessing it from a URL, and then via WebSockets, you contact the PlanSCADA Access Anywhere server. An RDP session is launched there, and then on your browser, you can see your actual plant. There is also possibility to have an extra security layer to build your demilitarized zone via the secure access gateway. The only thing is you need is an HTML5 browser, and there are some limitations regarding the versions that are compatible, but all the latest versions of PlanSCADA can be used. I would like to show you some short demo about how PlanSCADA looks like. Just give me a moment to change my interface. So these are two virtual machines that I have. The PlanSCADA Studio can be accessed from the Windows menu. Here is how it looks like. For the sake of this presentation, I have taken like a small section of a PNID. Is like a tank that has some temperature and flow valves and temperature controllers, etc. Just to show. I was thinking to make it real time, but maybe it is not really the time. So this is why I have pre-configured it. So basically here you have your project. Here we have our project. You can add new project, as I said, or you can back up your project or restore a new one. You can open the project in the Explorer and you can see all the configuration files. In the topology, something I forgot to mention is that a project can also include other sub-projects if you want to make a more structured way of a bigger plan. So, for example, you might have a global client project and then various locations, they will have their own smaller projects, and these can be included projects. Sometimes customers have their project for standards separately, project for communication separately, and this is how they build their projects. In the topology, we have our servers, and then it is necessary to define some specific things. This is the cluster. This is the computer name, where you need to define the host name in order to be able to use encryption if you would like. Of course, the network addresses of your servers in order later on to be able to deploy your project properly. And then you define your various server processes, alarm server, report servers, etc. Once you have defined your I/O servers, you need to define your I/O devices. For the sake of this test, I have two devices. One is using Modbus TCP. This is the Modnet driver, and one is using OPC UA. There is a very easy way to create a new device. You can just use the device communications wizard, and then you can go through the wizard, choose the protocol you would like to use. As you see, we have a really wide range of protocols, and then let's choose one for OPC. And then you have to define some information. And once you do this, your device is already created. Some of the protocols allow you also to natively import the tags from the PLC or the end device itself. So, for example, here we have an OPC UA server simulator, and you can directly browse and see all the tags here. So, if you see here, the address space, my objects, my device. So you can import the tags directly from here. So these are the entry points from the field. Once these are configured, you have to define your variable tags that are going to to collect the information from the field. So, for example, for this case, I have created like some temperature transmitter, the process value, set point, and the positioning of the control valve, the same for the flow, and some digital signals to define if the valve is open or not. This is a special type of protocol that we have. They are called calculated variables. And then you can use addressing that is basically an expression. So you can have easily from one variable tag to create easy calculations for other variable tags. So here then you have to define your alarms. I have two digital alarms for the valve, if it's closed or not. You define the alarm name, and then you just link it to the variable tag that is going to activate the digital alarm. And also two analog alarms. And here in the analog alarms, you can define various levels of alarming. For example, if there is a deviation from the set point, you can define your high, low, and low, low points, etc. We have other levels of alarms, time-stamped double point status that are used mainly for the energy industry, advanced alarms where you can define an expression to activate the alarm, and also multi-digital that you can set up 3 tags, and then their connection between them, they define the trigger. And then for trending, I have just used I have trended these 4 variable tags. You can define the sample period, so how often you want to take a sample from this variable tag. You will have 3 types: trend periodic and trend event for when a value is changing, periodic based on a specific period that you define, and another one, trend event periodic. You can define how many files will store this information, and also the type of storage, if it's a 2-byte or 8-byte. So you can define how the precision basically of the stored tag. Of course, you have a lot of other things that you can configure, like accumulators and statistical process control, but I didn't really set this up for this particular demo. Then, in order to create your representation, you need to create a new page. I have created one. Excuse me if this doesn't look very elegant. It's just a small demo, and I have just prepared it like this, actually. This is the graphics builder. It is directly loading a template because I have decided to create a page that is based on the template of that was used to build the project. But you can also build it without any template, and you can start from scratch, for example. Here you have the objects menu, where you can draw lines, rectangles, objects, and you have also a big library of symbols that can be used, but also the genies that I was talking about, that they are items that can be reused. For example, here this valve is a genie that is changing its color based on the value of the variable tag, and it was taken from the library, but you can also build your own genies. Some numerical expressions for numerical representation, and here, for example, there is the possibility to do like input, so you can put from the graphical interface your own set point. You need to save your changes, and this is how the pages are built. The starter projects are coming with a lot of pre-built functionality, so all these pages, I didn't build them, but they are already inbuilt. Here is the security setup. I have created a local user, but because it is also linked to a Windows group, we can run it as an administrator. We can run it with a Windows user that is a member of the administrators group. So you need to compile your project. It goes through all the database files that are basically DBase files. If you see here, all the information from PlanSCADA is stored in DBF files, DBase format. And then when you are compiling, it creates a runtime database files that are the ones loaded on runtime. And then once the project is compiled, then here is the message area where you can see if you have some problems. You can run your computer setup wizard where you can define what the project is actually doing. So you can define if it's a deployed project or you have restored it locally. You can configure some settings. You can, because the IP address of this machine has been defined in the project database, it is already recognizing that this is a server machine, so you can define if it's going to run in multiple Windows processes or you can say if it's a single process. We can say that it's going to be networked, so it can have the possibility to interconnect to other Plan SCADA machines. In this case, not really necessary, but if we had an external client, for example. And then you have the possibility to set up to each CPU your process will be assigned. If you have events, to define on which particular process your event is going to be running. If you have a Scicode function, you can define here which Scicode function you will use. Cluster connections, some extra security, extra setup, and then you finish your project and it's going to run. Okay. Here is the runtime manager that is starting up. So the alarm server, the IO server are all running. And then we can see, for example, that because this is really random, because the set point is 0 and there is a big difference between the process value and the set point, then this is giving the alarm. For example, you will see these are the last 3 alarms. So then if we set the set point, just a moment, set point, maybe this. Nope. Apologies. We can check right away. Variable tags. Okay. 40. So you can see that the here we have the deviation, how much we have. Let me log in as well, because as you see, I'm not able to do anything. So I can acknowledge the alarms, acknowledge the whole page, and then once it is acknowledged, for example, you will see that here now we have changed the value here. We can change also the set point here, and then you see the reflection of the value. Basically, PlanSCADA comes with two projects. The example project is using the StructureWare template that I have showed you, and the example essay uses the more modern template, the situational awareness, that you can use and check. Yes, so this kind of like resumes my demo. I have a few things regarding some other stuff, but we can get some questions now that is purely related with PlanSCADA. So I don't know, Ugo, if you want to start taking any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Pana. That was very educative. Please drop your questions in the chat box so that we could read it and you could answer. Thank you very much. So I'm looking forward to questions from the participants so that we could engage her on what she has educated us on. So please drop your questions, okay? Please drop your questions. Just keep them coming. Let's keep them coming. Let's give them some time, please. We have 30 minutes for the Q&A, so let's just keep that coming.
I see somebody has also raised their hand. I'm not really sure.
Okay. The instruction is you can drop the question. Just
Clear.
drop the question. Somebody's hand is up, or you can drop the question if your hand is up, please. Just drop the question in the chat box. We'll read it from there. Thank you.
So until any question is arriving, I can just resume the presentation, whatever you prefer, Ugo. And then we can. You're muted.
You can resume the presentation while we wait for the questions to come in. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. So please go on.
Okay. So just a short summarizing, PlanSCADA is a flexible, scalable, and reliable product, as you have seen. Key strengths are that it provides a client-server architecture. You can separate all the tasks in different processes. You can deploy your project anywhere possible, and you can have any kind of architecture you would like to use. It's scalable, meaning that it can be used by just a small operator panel to a huge installation. You can use clustering in order to integrate multiple sites and grow your project with very few configuration changes. Reliable thanks to the integrated redundancy that provides, or you can have online changes. Basically, if you make changes on the graphical pages, you don't even need to restart. You can reload your trend and alarm processes in order to get the latest updates. And of course, almost seamless upgrades from older versions. And of course, the security, as we have already mentioned. The last thing I would like to mention is where PlanSCADA sits in the operations control portfolio, which is basically a new type of licensing that we have in order to facilitate the customers to embrace our new model in combination with Connect, so they can create on-premises and subscription as a service, software as a service applications, so they can have their PlanSCADA on site and then send their information to Connect to make most of their value. So as we said, PlanSCADA basically takes the information from the field and then has the possibility to transfer the information via the native Aviva PlanSCADA Historian connector to Aviva Historian. It integrates seamlessly with Aviva reports for operations via CT API, but also can be done through Historian. It can connect easily via the Pi interface for PlanSCADA with Aviva Pi. And then from there, you can build your unified operations for a single pane of glass experience for the operators, for all their applications in one place. Put your data in Connect to take value via applications and analytics. And this is a separate licensing offering, practically. For whoever is starting their journey with Aviva and PlanSCADA, there are a lot of links that can help you. We have a big community where you can put there your questions. The technical support website, you can download all the software there. And of course, we have the PlanSCADA learning bites that they are micro videos for any kind of configuration that you would like to learn for PlanSCADA. This is a work in progress, so more and more videos are being uploaded. And then you have the online help that it's really easy to access, and you can search for all the Aviva products and also for PlanSCADA, of course. We have some links for the product feedback and also the community, as I said. And yeah, that resumes my presentation. So I'm here to hear all your questions, and I hope I can respond.
Okay, thank you, Panna. Thank you so much. We have a question from Wasiu Akiloye. Why is some alarm not receptible? Why is some alarm not receptible? So I think when you were presenting, so we had.
You mean my presentation?
Your presentation.
We can take it together. Maybe I did something not optimal when I was building the. So okay, this is the deviation. So let's go and have a look. The alarm that I have set up as deviation, it is here. So we go to the alarms. This was an analog alarm. And this is the here. So what did I do wrongly? This is okay. So there should not be a difference between. Let's go and have a look. You can go and have some information. I would expect that we have here the PV. That's a good question. Why it is not resettable? Let's see. So we can set the one in 50 and the set point. Okay, let's see. Here you can access the kernel, as I said, and you can run some functions. One of these, Scicode. So we have here. I think there is some problem with my variable tag. That is why it is not resettable. This is 98. Let's see. Go to the variables. Okay, so we can see what is the 257 error. 257 says value is out of range, but I don't have any range here. Yes, that is the problem. So I have created the wrong 0 scale and full scale, and then it doesn't, if you want information, for example, so we see 0257. That's a good thing that I have missed. So I have made the changes, I have saved. Here is the help. If you search for 257 in the help, my advice, this is better to go to the online help rather than the local version. It's faster. You can go to the documentation. You can see plant SCADA, the latest version. If you write 257, Psycode and general errors. So you can see the value is out of range, and then I had forgotten this for a previous configuration. If we now download, compile the project, then once this is complete, so apologies, it takes some time to complete this. Then basically, I can present also this. The only thing you need now, because we have made changes in the variable tags, is to restart your IO server. You will see the IO server stops, you lose the connection to your PLCs. For the moment, it says bad. However, alarms continue to show the information based on the last good value. Once the IO server is starting, you get the value. We can read it here. And now if we set it, the set point to a value like less, like 59, you can see that now the alarm has been removed. The problem was that we were not getting a good value. Here you have also the historical events. You can see all the changes that have happened, who logged in, and all this kind of information. It's the sequence of events representation. And something that I didn't show here, you have the pages. For example, you can go to the process analyst, and then you can search and put your trends here, and you can see them real time. Okay, the range now is not the correct one, and of course I didn't really change any values, so that's why we don't see a lot of information. But it needs a bit of a better rearrangement in order to see this. Oops, sorry, I have lost a bit then. Did I answer your question?
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Was you okay? So we have 3 more questions to go.
Yes.
And one is from, let me pick it. One is from Samuel. Samuel said, "Thank you, Ntagia, for the presentation. Can
Pleasure.
many projects be deployed simultaneously by different users on the same virtual host and server?" That is one. Secondly, alarm meets seems complex to me and may lead to complication if not done correctly. So that is from him. So I think you should take the first one.
Okay, so first, yes, you can have various projects configured simultaneously. I guess if from the same, to be able to access them from the same database, there is a parameter here. This is the computer setup editor where you can set a lot of parameters of how your machine will work and how you configure your servers. So whatever we have seen, for example, running in network mode is written here. This is kind of like the, let's say, the registry for PlanSCADA. There is a specific parameter that you can allow this. I don't remember this by heart. I need to check. Yeah, I think this is the one. General share files, if you enable this, more people are allowed to compile while other users are using the same machine, the same project. However, we don't really recommend it to do it like this. In this situation, this could be that you add project links, so you have the project database in a shared file, and every engineer is linking it to the studio, and then you enable this parameter. And then, yes, this can have some complications, but it is possible. The alarm limits about being complex. You have, this is a very big topic to discuss because you can, the PlanSCADA is basically has incorporated the GeoSCADA alarm database, and the files are stored here. It's like a SQL. So each project has its own alarm database. It's a SQL style database. So when you define the alarm limits on Studio, they are taken only the first time that you configure. Then you can change them only from the runtime because you can write to the properties of the alarms. So it can lead to some complications. You have to be careful to keep a good a history of which alarm has been changed. However, I think in general, the alarm limits is kind of like a pain point in various products. That's it. I hope I have answered your question.
Okay, thank you very much. So we also have the third question. I think this is going to also be the last one for. Oh, let me check. Let me check, please. I think I'm having, but let me just check to be sure. Okay, we have one more. We have two questions to go, and that will be the last one. Now, this one says, given the rising cyber threats to operational technology by Dominic, the question is coming from Dominic. Network, how does Aviva PlanSCADA support a zero trust architecture?
Yeah, well, in general, Aviva as a company has embraced fully the Cybersecurity Resilience Act and tries to develop the products based on this kind of direction. Furthermore, as I have presented, we have various levels of security. and the encryption layer that is using the system management server and distributes certificates is basically the one providing the security levels necessary. However, I'm not really sure if there are other things that they need to be taken into account. So if you have properly defined your runtime security levels, you have run your system connected to a system management server, and you are using certificates to encrypt the communication among your processes and among other products. I think that should be enough, I guess. Also, Aviva as a company, we have our cybersecurity team that is very vigilant, and we take really into account all the reports from customers regarding cybersecurity threats.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that question has been addressed. The last question for today is the SCADA hardware, servers, sensors, controller, etc. sensitive? That's the question.
I'm not sure if I understand what does it mean by sensitive, from which perspective. Basically, SCADA is not hardware. It's a software that you run on your Windows machine. We have specifications, very clear minimal specifications, or where you can run your PlanSCADA software. Then, of course, yeah, I'm not sure on which level of sensitivity we are referring to.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Pana. We have a lot of questions, though, but I think we're going to take this to the community. So I'm going to just make a presentation now. Let me just start the presentation so that people can get to see the
Sorry, may I just address the last question by Celestine?
Okay, where is it? Okay, yeah.
That is PlanSCADA server types, if they are I/O separate physical machines. These are Windows processes that they can run either on a standalone server that is just one machine, or you can distribute them to various machines where you have installed PlanSCADA. So you can have one server just for your alarms, one server just for your trends, and you can just create your architecture by what you set up in the topology. That's it. So yes, I will stop presenting now. Thank you everyone for your questions and your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to present the barcode. Let me just put it up on the screen so that the QR code, sorry, so that everybody can have that. I think it leads directly to the community. If you have any other question, you can ask. You can go there, ask. We're going to direct it to Pana, and she can give a very comprehensive answer. So let me say thank you to everybody. Let me say a very big thank you to those participants that have made it from the first day to today. We want to say thank you. We really appreciate the effort. And also to the Aviva team that have been consistent. We want to say thank you. And also to the host, Lunadek, and the team. We want to say thank you also for making this possible. And also to our principal consultant, Dr. Ibilola Mao. We want to say thank you for the vision and also for making this possible. Like I mentioned before, the vision is for us to build local talent for global opportunities and also driving the Aviva adoption across industries. It is very necessary that young, active, even academia, we can have this technology as a tool that we use regularly, and we can engage with it. So the community is very, very important, and we are very keen in developing this community into making it a very, very, very engaging platform where this technology will be taught. So like I mentioned, this is a series. So after this phase, this is the first phase, which is a pilot phase. We're still going to continue. And I believe in the first section, I also mentioned that we'll also have a situation where we can get the softwares across to active participants within the community. So it's easier for you to engage with this technology. It is easier for us to have, maybe you come to physical classes and we can evolve from there. So I really want to say thank you to everybody that has been part of this, people that came in today, and also that started the engagement from the very first minutes to now. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Tomorrow we are having the last section, and that will also be very educative and very informative. We look forward to having everybody. I'm looking forward to a higher number than what we have been having from the first day. And let me also say this, that the community is growing and we're having a lot of engagement. I think people are asking questions, people are sending direct DMs. But what we need to do is for us to, after this engagement, there's another evolution of that community. So we're going to look at a situation where we can have a more physical class, and we can have the Aviva team maybe engage with us virtually, just like they are doing today. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Hope to see you again tomorrow. And please, we need you to scan through the QR code so that you can join the community. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.